me and Will had Colonial American 101 to 107, and the.
No, here you go. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. There you go. Now you should do it.
Federal style architecture is type of architecture that was first built in between 1780 and 1830. It takes inspiration from early Roman architecture, and it was the style for government-related buildings at the time. Alright, the characteristics: it is very plain and boxy, usually made out of brick, 2 to 3 stories tall, and it had a grid arrangement of windows, so just one after the other. There's the South Carolina State House in Columbia, and it can be found in the South and Eastern United States. My likes for federal style architecture is the use of pillars on large buildings like Capitol buildings, like the United States Capitol. But dislikes, it is very boring and box shaped, like I said. And then New England farmhouse, I did not find much information on this, but I just know it was built around the late 1700s, and it's obviously, New England farmhouses. It had low ceilings, central fireplace, often had a barn that was usually red to accompany the home, and usually white with stone walls, and can be found in the northeast United States. Yeah. Adams-style architecture is what I found to be just another name for federal-style architecture, and it's called that because. Can I finish that? Okay, it's called that because there was a guy from, I think, Britain or something that was. His last name was Adams, and federal style architecture takes after a lot of things that his style of architecture did.
Oh, me? Okay. I'll take this one. All right. I'm Scones. I'm playing the role of Will today, so here we go. All right, so in this case, continuing on with the same Colonial American, this is the Cape Cod. Okay, these are pretty common homes, especially on the East Coast. Very good first styles. The houses were built between the 1690s and 1710s. Okay, really basically the first type of homes built after the Pilgrims, really. But we're not given that name until around the 1700s, late 1700s. Very popular between the 1700s and 1850s. Quite a few of them were built. They originated from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. All right, hence the name, Cape Cods. These houses actually had 3 different types, each getting bigger as families did. The first started at half, then there's a 3/4 Cape Cod, and there's a full Cape Cod. Okay, the half had a door close to the wall, and 2 windows, and it grew opposite to these windows. Okay, so it moved away from the windows. These houses, when full, would be perfectly symmetrical and built around a central living area, and that's what you probably see more now than ever. They believe designed as some of the very first Puritan settlers back in the 1700s. Okay, it's the first homes they would build. Their features, they're very symmetrical design, very boxy. Okay, they have very steep roofs for snow, especially on the East Coast. Cape Cod area is known for snow, so to dissipate the snow load, you want the snow to fall off, so obviously they went with steep pitches. Most of the windows have shutters, again, back then for to help keep the cold out. They'd shutter up the house. And they had a centralized chimney to keep the fireplace in the middle of the house as a heating and cooking area. Okay? Low ceilings. Again, the low ceilings help keep heat in. All right? You're talking this is the East Coast, so low ceilings kept the heat closer to the people. All right? Houses in modern times are most likely to be found in the northeastern part of the U.S., okay, Cape Cod area. Favorite part of the house is the simplicity of the design. Okay, back then it was really easy to assemble, relatively cheap. The least favorite part is how the modern style of these homes have lost the symmetrical look. So if you can see, this is a traditional 3/4 up above, right here in the whatever hand drawing type looking here, and then below here's now an updated Cape Cod. And again, They lost that symmetry. This one is, you know, I started to see a little bit some other added elements that were actually in some future other type home styles you'll see in some of the other presentations. They started adding these garrisons and things like that. This is called a Granville, I think. Oh my gosh, I forget the name. Oh, it looks like a barn on the top. That's another combination of a French style. So the new modern ones started having influences from other countries. So it lost some of that original squareness in it. Okay. You have the Cape Ann. Obviously, again, the Capes. The Capes were very common on the East Coast. Pretty close to the same time as the Cape Cod, so early 1700s. The styles from the Cape Ann, Massachusetts area. So you have the Cape Cod, now you have the Cape Ann. It was really big along the northern coast of the same state, Massachusetts. They're known to be very similar to the Cape Cod style homes, but they tend to have either 2 stories or 1.5. Okay, these houses, unlike Cape Cod, usually wouldn't end up being symmetrical, but some people would add rooms and branch out the houses as they got larger, as the families grew. Okay. This style of house was one of the few styles that was only really built during the 1700s and wasn't brought back. So there's no variants of this. Just looking at the picture right here, you can probably tell it's the prettiest house, so no wonder it didn't get updated. All right. Distinguishing features. Again, 1 chimney, usually on one side of the house. Large rounded roofs for both snow and space. So what they did, instead of just doing a steep A-frame roof, they began to add 2 different angles to it. So you added basically more space in the upstairs, giving the people another floor to live on. Shutters on the windows, again for the cold. 1 second-story window on the roof. Okay, so we call that a gable. The gable would, no, it's not a gable, excuse me. We'll get back to that. I'm making names up now. Sorry. Not a lot of windows, but most face one way. Okay, the way they face is towards the sun. Does that make sense? Try to do some passive heating. Okay, these houses are most likely to be found in the Northeast, especially in Massachusetts. Favorite part of these designs is how they look like a barn. And the least favorite is that the windows, there were very few windows. It was a very dark home. The windows would be only on one side of the house, so you didn't get to see very much. Okay. Garrison Colonial, next one. It came back in the early 17th century. So these were built a lot, and they started to spread across the Northeast, became more popular. They started in New England, but were also very popular in Maine and New Hampshire. Or New Hampshire, depends where you're from. Okay? These houses were almost always 2 stories. Symmetrical houses, large windows wherever the sun shined, and smaller ones on the non-sunshiny side. Okay, so they started bringing in more light to the home, but again, the windows were put on one side specifically because of the northeast cold, excuse me, and so they were using those windows as passive heating. Okay, these houses were also called fortified because they look military in style, and you do see these a lot on military bases. They also had a decently flat roof, but some of them had steep roofs that they were in places that got lots of snow. So just depending on where you were building these. Their features, they're symmetrical. Okay, 2 stories. This is rare for the back when these were first built, but there's 2 stories. That was why they got so popular for larger families. They have larger windows on one side, chimneys on one side of the house. What they used to do here, as you can see in this case, you usually put a chimney on either side of the house to create heat for both sides of the house to heat, so you'd have 2 fireplaces. Okay, most windows have shutters, again, especially on the second floor, to keep the cold out. Today, the houses are most commonly found in the northeastern part of the U.S., but also live in North Carolina and Virginia. And again, the lights on this one, how large the windows are because this houses makes them more lighting in there, a little bit more than the ones that were being built in the same time frame. Least favorite, they haven't really grown or evolved through the years. It's pretty much the same thing. They're symmetrical. There hasn't been much design change. You can still see a modern version of these. To me, it reminds me of the houses I saw a lot built in the 70s and early 80s. They all look very similar. Okay, just modernize them a little bit. New England, colonial American. Okay, almost done here. New England style house came from the mid 1600s, but weren't built heavily until the early 1700s. These houses are traditionally found in the Northeast again, mainly Massachusetts. So a lot of these homes during this era were in Massachusetts. Okay. These houses were probably 2- and 3-story homes, so they're starting to expand out and go up vertically to create more space. And they also had side houses, though we're coming with the modern ones. Okay, side houses, basically, or branch houses, what they call them. They're little bump outs on the side house, basic expansions on the home. These houses could also be called colonial homes because they were very common style during the colonial era. Okay, so they're very colonial style. These houses were normally perfect in snowy conditions because they had the steep roofs and lots of windows for lighting and passive heating. Yes?
Is the side house like a wing?
It's like a wing. So here would be a great example. Good, right here. That right there would be like a side house. Okay. What I would equate it to now, and some of the houses we were looking at recently to purchase, it is a sunroom. Where they bump it out to the back of the house to bring more sun and have 3 banks of windows. In most cases now, the large set of side glass doors to get that indoor outdoor stuff. So yeah, very similar. So the modern version now we call the sunroom. Okay. Going here, distinguishing things, the 3 windows on the attic. Okay. Dormers, that's what these are called. Sorry, those are dormers. Okay, they put those on the top. That gives allows the attic to have some use, i.e., the 3rd floor. 1 chimney is centralized or on one side. Again, for heating. Multiple windows with lots and lots of lighting. Again, that passive solar heating for the house. Steep roofs. Again, Massachusetts, lots of snow. Make sure that snow comes off. And 1 building or branch to the side. Okay, 1 building or branch. In this case, this branch would be the garage. That would be what we consider a branch building. Okay, not usually. In this case, it may be attached, but a lot of times it was off the side, and you may have to walk in through a breezeway or through a back door. Today, these houses are found all along the East Coast, north of South Carolina. My favorite part of these houses are how unique they can be. With side houses, that changes each one. So depending on what you put, some houses will have a garage on one side, like a sun sitting room on the other side. So it just depends on the style of the home. It can be very unique. Least favorite part is how similar the main parts of the houses can be to the Garrison Colonial. Okay, so again, you got the very square, regimented, windows stacked on top of each other. Nothing really creative there. So basically all they did is add these little side wings. Otherwise, the center is still the same home. Okay, and that is it. All right. Any questions? That's good. All right.